Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on our How to Create a Relaxed Home free webinar. I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can within the hour, and you're very welcome to ask questions. I'll see them on the side of my screen, and all you need to do is write little questions down the bottom of your screen. You'll see underneath the Google Hangouts where you can write some questions. So I will try to answer those as I go. And if I don't get to them, I'll try to answer them at the end of our meditation. So today, I'd like you to be able to get as much really awesome information that you can to declutter your home and to declutter your work and to eventually declutter your mind, which is really what I'm all about. What I'm trying to do is to relax you. I'm trying to allow your mind to be free of unnecessary clutter, of negative thoughts, because there's so much evidence these days that states that the negative thoughts can really get into our system. And I work with an exercise program, an encore program called for breast cancer, for after breast cancer surgery. And I've also done a year's extra training for yoga therapy for breast cancer. And so much of it states that stress plays a huge part in not only maybe actually getting the cancer, but in the recovery and how well you can live your life post-cancer and post-surgery. So the more research I did, the more I found out that the thoughts and the stresses not only are involved in cancer, but heart disease and diabetes, obesity, if we are unmindfully eating, and so many other areas. And so what I'd really like to do is to help you pre-illness. So before you get ill, before you get sick, trying to really control those thoughts before they get into your system. And so when I was studying to be a school teacher, they told us that we need to teach people big, teach little kids big, and then come in small. And so what I've decided to do is to teach people big, declutter their physical area, their physical space, and then start coming in, and then coming into your mind. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I really hope that you get a lot of information out of this webinar today. If you haven't already, grab yourself a pen and a paper. Let your family know that you are listening and you're learning and you'd prefer not to be disrupted unless it's an emergency, which is what I've told my family. They're all downstairs. And to really get as much out of this as you can. At the end of the meditation, we're going to be doing a beautiful body scan. At the end of the webinar, we're going to be doing a beautiful body scan meditation. So I do suggest getting perhaps some pillows, perhaps an eye pillow over your eyes, and some room that you can lie down and be still. If lying down is very uncomfortable for you, a body scan can be done sitting up. That's absolutely fine. So I do hope that you get a lot of information, and I'd love to hear if you've had any aha moments, or if you've got any comments, or if this has happened in your life, or you've got an extra idea for me. Oh, I love learning. I absolutely love learning from other people. So you might be able to help me along my journey as well. Okay, so let's get into the slides. Here we go. Okay, so how to create a home, a relaxed home. So this is your online class. So this is 7 a.m. Perth time, so it's a little bit early for a lot of people. Before we start, I'd like you to really think about how you're feeling right now. So if you're feeling really, really fantastic, that's a 1. And if you're feeling really, really horrible, that's a 10. So start thinking about where you are on that scale without giving it too much thought. Just see how you're feeling. Okay. Hopefully you've got your little number there. Okay, so we're going to be talking today about how to breathe and relax. This is the best way of breathing, of relaxing and de-stressing, is breathing, because we don't know when stresses are going to come up in our lives, and we need to have the tools with us at all times to be able to stop the stress before the stress overtakes us. Because we're all going to have stress in our lives. It's just the way that we react to it that really, really matters. So I need you to be able to breathe properly. Only 1/3 of the population breathes properly. We need to be able to breathe into the bottom part of our lungs. So a really easy way of teaching you how to breathe into the bottom part of your lungs is a mudra breathing technique that I teach. So grab your hands, and I'd like you to bring the tips of your thumb and your pointer finger together. Spread all the other fingers out, and then turn your hands over so the palms face down on your thighs. And I'd just like you to breathe nicely. You don't need to push the breath down or change the breath, just breathe nicely. And you'll feel the breath coming down into the bottom part of the lungs. This is a really, really cool, easy technique for you to open up the bottom part of your lungs. And now I'd like you to release that hand gesture. We call it a mudra. And I'd like you to wrap your fingers, all 4 fingers, and press them into the palms of your hands. So just curl the fingers and press them into the palms of your hands. And then bring the thumbs over the fingers. So you're making a fist. It doesn't need to be a tight fist, just a fist. And then turn your palms facing downwards again and place them on your legs, just on your thighs where you did before. So you'll feel now that the bottom part of the lungs would have closed off somewhat. Your breathing will be a little bit more shallow because you're only breathing into the the 2/3 of your lungs. You're not using the last part of your lungs. So you might be able to feel how uncomfortable this feels now that you're really thinking about it. Now the next hand gesture, the next hand mudra, I don't want you to do if you're suffering from any anxiety at all. So I really want you to think about that. The next hand mudra that we're going to do, we open up our hands. We place the thumb on the inside, so wrap the thumb into the palm of the hand, and then curl all of the other fingers around the thumb, and then turn the hands, palms facing downwards and palms resting on your legs again. Now you'll feel that this only brings the air into the top 1/3 of the lungs. So you're not getting enough oxygen into your body. So release your hands, relax, take a few breaths. Just sit quietly for a few moments. And then once more, bring the thumb and the pointer finger together. Spread the other fingers out gently. You don't need to push them out, just spread them out. Palms facing down again and rest them on your thighs. And do you feel how this opens up the bottom part of your lungs? So if you are in a very stressful situation our bodies automatically go into the fight-flight response. And you can only breathe into the first third of your lungs. Now, the fight-flight response is absolutely fantastic if you are in a car accident or if you are being chased by a rhinoceros or something like that, because it gives us huge amount of adrenaline and it really helps our bodies. But unfortunately in our lives, we put stress into our bodies with perhaps being in a traffic jam, or the train's late for getting to work, or the kids are absolutely stressing us out to the nth degree. So we're still getting that adrenaline into our bodies, and it's not great in that situation. It's great in a situation if you're in a really good sporting team or in a wedding, something like that. But not good stressful situations are not good for you. So that's the first tip that I can give you, and one of the best things that you can take with you all your life, everywhere. If you find yourself shallow breathing, if you find yourself your heart's racing, you've got sweaty palms, you're in a stressful situation. Bring the fingertips, the thumb and the pointer finger together and breathe. And really stop and breathe. Try to breathe down into the bottom part of your lungs. So, so incredibly important. Okay, so let's move on. A lot of people tell me that they struggle with their thoughts. And they struggle with their thoughts because they tell me they can't stop their thoughts. Their thoughts go round and round and round. And I totally get this. There was a time that I was at a meditation, I was at a yoga retreat, and the meditation teacher came up to me and she said, "So how was that meditation? You looked like you were really getting into it." And I said, "Oh, that was just fantastic. I only had one thought going around in my mind instead of the usual 4 or 5 thoughts that always go around in my mind." And I know that you can relate to this. And so what I've done is I've thought of a way to really explain to you how you can actually stop your thoughts. So for a few moments now, I'd like you to think of a thought that is a little bit unpleasant, not a hugely, hugely unpleasant thought, just something that's been niggling at you, something that's been worrying you just a little bit. So just a few moments, just think about that thought that might have been bothering you just a little bit. Okay, so you've got that in your head. Good. Okay, now I'm going to do another breathing technique with you. So this is another awesome breathing technique for, again, teaching your mind, and you know your brain is a muscle, you need to train it. Teaching your mind and training your mind to detach yourself from negative and unhealthy thoughts. Okay, so I'd like you to sit quietly. We're going to focus on our breath. So you might like to bring your thumb and your pointer finger together. We're going to count our breath. So when we inhale, I'd like you to count to 4 and try to take the whole 4 seconds to have the inhale. So when you're ready, taking an inhale and counting to 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now stop breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And pause. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's your 16-second breath. Did you think about that unpleasant thought that you had before we started the breath? I can almost guarantee you that you didn't think about that thought. You were thinking about counting, and you were thinking about holding the breath. So you can train your mind to detach yourself from those negative and unpleasant thoughts. We just need to do this at regular intervals during the day and constantly. It gets really, really easy after a while. And if I'm in the car, or if my mind is just being driven by my thoughts, I'll stop and breathe, count my breath, detach myself from that thought, and then it's my choice whether to continue on that line of thought or not. So it's not my mind telling me that that's where it needs to go. It's me telling my mind that I choose for that train of thought to continue. Do you see the difference? So after our mudra breathing, our hand gestures, and after our 16 seconds of breathing, I'd like you to think about that timeline again that we had at the beginning of our session. So thinking about that timeline, 1 being fantastic, 10 feeling absolutely terrible, and without judgment again, without too much thought, just seeing if there's any improvement or if there's been any change. I'd love to actually hear what you got out of that. So perhaps write it in the comments below. Perhaps you can put on the side of the screen a little note to me in the questions box. If you're watching this in the replay, I would love to hear your comments. So just pop the comment below. I love listening to these things. Okay, so let's move on. If you don't know who I am very well, I've got lots of different work hats and I love each one of them. I really do. So I have a beautiful Victoria's VIP program, and I send a yoga movie and recipes and smoothies and meditations and things to my members each month. I teach live as well, yoga and meditation. I teach at my children's school to the teachers and to the children. I'm a wellness blogger. You can find lots of inspiration at Victoria's Place online. Make sure you put the online afterwards. It's really important. You'll probably see why. I host relaxation workshops and I'm an encore facilitator, as I mentioned before. I have an ebook called Peacefulness in 5 Easy Steps. And my new book, Will You Come to Bed With Me? Creating Mindful Moments with Your Family, has just been released last week, so it's very exciting. And I'm the designer of the How to Create a Relaxed Home program. So my background has been very messy. I haven't been one of those people that would have been born to be, cool and easy and calm their whole lives. I've had to really, really work at it. I had my first stress related operation when I was 10 months old. And since then I've had so many, the doctors can't operate anymore. And because it is incredibly painful when I have an episode, they just said I needed to be on morphine for quite a lot of my life. And I decided that that's not the way that I would like to be as a mother. So I've chosen a completely different lifestyle. I've changed my job. And so now I really feel as though I can speak from the heart. I can really teach stress management because this is how I live my life now. I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours researching this. One of my daughters said to me a couple of years ago, "Mum, why are you always listening to that happiness stuff?" Because I listen to a lot of TED Talks and I research so much. So I can really shortcut this process for you. So why do we need to declutter? If your physical space is an absolute mess, it actually gets into your mind, and your mind gets cluttered, it gets messy. You feel as though you aren't getting anywhere. You feel as though you feel as though everything's just too overwhelming. And so one of the best ways to start clearing your mind is to actually start clearing your physical clutter out of your life. So there's quite a few ways of decluttering your life, decluttering your physical life. I always keep a charity box in my laundry. And the charity box is there so that if my kids or if I grow out of anything, we wash it and we put it straight in there. So it's not cluttering up our wardrobes. If the children have grown out of a toy that they don't want anymore, goes straight in the charity box. And the charity box gets emptied very regularly in my house. And it's just such a great way of keeping everything clear in our bedrooms. It's really helpful. So I also, when my children were young, I used the toy library, which was an absolute godsend, because I used to go in there and I used to ask them what they wanted to look at and wanted to choose for the week. And it often wasn't what I thought that they were going to choose. And it was a great way for my husband and I to figure out what they wanted for Christmas, because often you spend so much money on Christmas presents and they like the box even more than they like the present. So it's a really, really great way. The toy library, and there's usually a toy library in every town. It is a fantastic resource. It really is. And definitely the book library. I don't know what I would do if there wasn't a fantastic library in every town that I live in. It's just, yeah, fantastic. You can take so many books off your shelves. You can clear so much space in your home, in your children's bookshelves, in your own bookshelf. Give it to a friend, move it on, give it to charity, and have a look at the books in the library. The library also has amazing resources for children. I'm not sure if, well, I thought everybody knew about it, but I was talking to a friend the other day and I said, oh, rhyme time and story time for the kids is just fantastic at libraries. So yeah, amazing resource for people. Okay, so using our time well when we're decluttering, give yourself 5 minutes. I'm just giving you a few tips. We're going to do a lot more in the actual program, but I'm just going to give you a few tips today. So one of the tips is to put aside 5 minutes every day of only doing one thing. And don't get distracted. It's only 5 minutes. And so that 5 minutes, put it on a timer if you need to. Make it fun, make a stop-start time. Put it on a timer. If you look at one area, like your handbag or your underwear drawer or your medicine cabinet or your, what else can I say? My cat's trying to get in the door, so I'm just going to move everything so I can for her. There he goes by. Wow. Okay, so where were we talking about decluttering? Yeah, so medicine cabinet, handbag. Everyone seems to have a shit drawer at home. You know, the third drawer down, or the one in the kitchen that's got all the sticky tape in it and got all the, well, mine's got lots of candles and incense in it, but yours might not. Just 5 minutes, clear it out. What about all of your makeup? What about the drawer that's got all the Band-Aids and that kind of thing in it? So 5 minutes a day, just clear it out. Clear out all the clutter, especially in the medicine cabinet. Have a look and see how many out-of-date bottles you have. It can be quite scary. Okay, another decluttering tip for your clothes. I tried this a couple of years ago and it worked really, really well. So I turned all of the hangers around in my closet, in my wardrobe, to be facing the wrong way. And every time I wore something, I put it back in there with the hanger facing the right way. So I knew that I was wearing it. And when I first read about this idea, they did say 3 months, but I gave myself a year. After a year, I looked at all the clothes that I hadn't actually worn. So it was really easy for me to see because all the hangers were still hanging the wrong way. And that's what went to the charity. So that's another really great idea of getting rid of some of your stuff. Okay, clear your subscriptions out of your email. I was going through my email today and I clear out my subscriptions quite regularly because I do like learning and I like signing up for things. But I move on, and I find that I've read everything that person would like to show me, and I know I can come back to them if I choose to later. They've given me some wonderful information. And so I close that subscription with love and say thank you very much. And it clears out your inbox and saves you so much time each day deleting emails that you're just not going to read. Okay, is there anything else I want to talk to you about decluttering? I think that's it. You might have some ideas for me. I'd love to hear. Oh, this little picture on the side, I'm putting together some pictures for the home program. So can you relate to this, trying to close the door and everything not falling out at the same time? Okay, so the home program that we're putting together, the week 1 is the decluttering, and like I said, we'll be decluttering the physical space and the mental space as well. So that's quite a huge week. I'm putting in so much information. I'm not sure whether it can be done in a week, but it's a program that you can choose to do it in a week, or you can do it at your own time, however long it takes you to. And week 2, we're talking about creating more self-love in your life. It's so important. If we don't have anything to give ourselves, we can't give anything to anyone else. So important. If we really want to love our family, if we want to love our children as much as we can, we need to be able to love ourselves. We need to come to them with a full cup so we can pour some into their cup when they need it. Week 3, we'll be talking about mindfulness and meditation, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the program coming up, the difference between meditation and mindfulness. I was listening yesterday to the radio, and a sportsman was saying how incredible mindfulness was for him, for his performance. And I think it's becoming a lot more open and a lot more proven scientifically to say that you can't be your best self if your mind isn't in the right place. So that's really what mindfulness is. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So week 4, we'll be talking about mindful eating and weight management. And I go into a lot of detail about healthy eating and healthy living. And you also get a 7-page, a 7-day recipe book with snacks and drinks and breakfast and lunch and dinner. So we can go through that weekend. We can try out some beautiful recipes together. And week 5, we bring it all together. How are we going to instill this into every part of our lives so that when we finish the course, it doesn't just stop. We can continue the goodness throughout our whole entire lives. So the early bird price finishes today, my loves, and then it's going up. So quite a few people have used that early bird price already. So I really, really suggest that you do. It's a great one, but it does finish today. So 3 ways to declutter your mind. So when we're understanding our thoughts, and then we can be selective of who we can let in, and then we can detach ourselves from our thoughts. So understanding our thoughts are just either past events that we're remembering, or they're thoughts of what is happening now. So we're listening, we're writing perhaps. You might be scrolling through something else as you're listening. So it's just the thoughts that are happening right now. Or our thoughts are those worry thoughts of the future. What might or might not happen in the future, or planning. And so thoughts can be categorized, I guess, into 3 different areas: of our past, of our present thoughts, and of our future thoughts. And I've given you in the book, Will You Come to Bed With Me? I've given you a free download of the past, present, and future meditation that works really, really well to try to categorize those thoughts. And then you can decide later on whether you actually want to pick up those thoughts later on. So if a past thought is unsettling for you, you can actually keep that in the past box. You don't have to get it out again. But if a past thought is a beautiful memory, you can decide to take that thought with you again. So it's actually it's simple, but it's very powerful. So I'd love to hear if that has helped you in any way. That meditation, I give a lot of meditations at my workshops. That meditation has been the most popular and the most powerful one for people. Okay, so let's be very selective about who we let into our thoughts. In the past, someone may have told you something that may or may not have been true, but it's your choice to let them in. It's your choice to keep them in your head. That person probably doesn't even remember saying something to you that might have upset you. But it's your choice to leave them in your head. So let's be very selective. Let's select who we want to keep in our minds. And that past, present, and future meditation is very, very good for that. If someone does say something to you in the present moment or in the future, this might be something that you can think and keep in the back of your head. I'm being selective about who I'm letting into my head. Some people don't deserve the space in your head. You have a very precious brain. Let's be selective about who comes into your mind. And the third one to declutter your mind is to detach yourself from your thoughts. So that really is the basis of mindfulness, is being mindful about your thoughts. Are they negative? Are they positive? Are they neutral? And just listening to them. Detaching yourself from the emotional pull of those thoughts. Because once our thoughts, like I mentioned before, comes into our bodies, they become physical reactions. So our thoughts are very powerful. If we've got an unpleasant thought, it can make our blood pressure high. So thoughts can be very physical. So just think about that for a few moments. If we let those negative thoughts, and it's just a thought, it's just words going across in our brain. If we let those negative thoughts come into our bodies, it causes a physical reaction. High blood pressure, sweaty palms, high heart rate, which can all lead to cells in our bodies becoming unwell. And it all starts with the thought, which you have the power to change. It's quite amazing, isn't it? This is why I love researching it so much. It's so cool. So like I said before, you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to take care of yourself first. You need to take care of your mind. Who is in your mind? Do you love yourself enough to be able to give out love? Of course you love your family. Of course you love your children. Why don't you love yourself? This was one of the hardest things for me. I haven't come from a place of loving myself. I have had to teach myself how to love myself and not feel guilty about it. Guilt does creep in quite regularly for me still. And I still have to justify things I do a lot because it's not natural for me. But I really have discovered that you can't give from an empty cup. You drain yourself so much that for one, me, I end up in hospital on morphine, having another stress-related operation. Very important that you fill your own cup first. How did you feel about that? Sometimes it can be quite confronting because we all don't want to come from a place where we think we love ourselves, where we're up ourselves. But actually loving and nurturing ourselves has got nothing to do with the ego. So how can we take care of ourselves? We can eat and drink mindfully. I went into a shop the other day, a friend owns the shop, and she said, we were talking about weight management and eating mindfully. And she said, well, what about wine? And I said, absolutely. Drink a beautiful bottle of wine, but drink it mindfully. Don't just scull it down. Don't just drink it to get drunk. Drink it because it's delicious, because it comes from beautiful grapes growing in beautiful places. Think about the people that made it. Think about the care that went into it to bottle it, for it to sit on the shelves and mature. So eating and drinking mindfully. And you find that you don't eat and you don't drink as much because you're really taking it in and you're savouring it. So each dinner time, breakfast, morning, lunch, dinner, every meal time, stop and just eat. Try not to check your phone, try not to turn the TV on, just eat. If you have friends around you, stop eating while you're talking to them. We don't want to talk with a full mouth. We want to listen to them while they're there as well. My cat's decided to go out. Goodness gracious. So if we decide that we're going to mindfully live, we can really help. It can really help our weight, because we're not eating so much and scoffing it down, and our body has a chance to understand when it's full. It's really quite easy. And you really appreciate the food so much more. Even a cup of tea tastes better when you're mindfully drinking. I had a friend at school, and every time she took a bite out of her sandwich, she used to close her eyes. And it looked like she was in rapture every single time she ate out of her sandwich at school. And I always remember the bliss. And I thought, isn't that wonderful? She can get so much joy out of the same sandwich every single day. And obviously she was a lot more evolved than me. I can't even remember what I had at lunch at school. Okay, so another way to take time out for yourself is take time out, is to take those small moments out for yourself. If you're a person that has never taken any time out for themselves, start small, because people aren't really used to it and you're not really used to it. So if you haven't ever taken any time out for yourself, maybe a month-long retreat isn't the best way to start, or it might be. That's what you might feel as though you need to do. But I find that small is better for everybody, including yourself and your family. So a minute, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And then after a while, building it up to 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And then building it up to 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. And after a while, you'll be able to go out for half a day. After a while, you'll be able to go out for a whole day. After a while, you'll be able to have a sleepover and have a girls' night out. You might be able to go away with a few friends. And then after a while, you might be able to have a weekend away. So just start small. When I had little babies, and because one of my babies wasn't very well, it was very difficult to have some time out from him. And I found myself really getting even more angry with him because I wasn't taking any time out away from him. And so one of the best things that a friend did, she came over once a week on a Friday and she cuddled him for an hour so I could spend some time with my daughter, who was only 20 months old at the time. And that was a godsend. It wasn't necessarily taking time out for me, but it was taking time out from a stressful situation. He didn't leave the house or he didn't leave the property. I actually walked around the backyard with him screaming for an hour, but it really, really helped me. So sometimes taking time out is asking for a friend to help you take that time out. Ask a friend to go to the movies with you. Ask a friend to go for a walk with you. So just little bits of time out. Okay, learn techniques. There's lots and lots of techniques that I can teach you, and we're going to go through them a lot more. The stress management techniques, I've got so many for you. I'll speak a lot more about them in the program. But the stress management techniques, I'm putting together a video series as well, and that will come out once a week on the Facebook page. But there's also lots of techniques that I've written about in the blog, in the wellness blog, and on victoriasplaceonline.com.au, and also in the Facebook. So just scroll down, there's so many techniques for you there. And I give techniques out to my my private online members as well. So you're very welcome to join me in that program. So another one is to treat yourself with respect. Treat yourself nicely. Like I said before, our thoughts are incredibly powerful. You need to really think about those thoughts, and if they're negative thoughts. Because if we are speaking negatively to ourselves, then that's going to react in our bodies as well. So a technique that I teach, that Gabrielle Bernstein, I actually emailed her and I said, can I please teach this technique as well? And she said, absolutely, spread the light, which was great. So this is one of the techniques I teach at my workshops. We put a rubber band, a lucky band, around our wrist. And each time we have a negative thought about ourselves, we snap that rubber band against our wrist. Now, I'm not asking you to hurt yourself too much, but it really does give us a jolt. One, about how many times we have a negative thought, and two, how painful it can be to have that negative thought in our minds. So next time you see a rubber band, you might like to put it around your wrist, and each time you have that negative thought, just have a little snap and snap yourself out of it. And it's the other thing, it teaches you to detach yourself from those thoughts, as we spoke about before. Another very, very powerful technique is the mirror technique by Louise Hay. And I'll send some links to this because it's an incredibly powerful technique. Look in the mirror and you say, I love you, 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 10 times. And look into your eyes. Don't look anywhere else. Just look into your eyes and say that. When I first started saying that, I was at the beginning of my self-love journey. And I got the Louise Hay app, and I was lying in bed and I was so incredibly hungover. I was feeling like absolute shit. I was looking even worse. I was pretending that I was okay, and I really, really wasn't. And the app, it said, just the magic will happen, you just need to do the work. And I said, okay, that's fine, I'll do that. And so you can imagine I've got these bloodshot eyes. I've got mascara coming down my face. I had big panda eyes, makeup everywhere, hair's a mess. I don't even know where I was the night before, who knows. And I looked at the app and it said to say, I love you. And the app suddenly turned into a mirror. And I was looking at myself and I just about threw the phone across the room. I was shocked at how terrible I was looking. And it just reiterated to me even more how much I needed to get my shit together and help myself. So that app can be downloaded by Louise Hay. But the mirror technique is really, really, really powerful. I do suggest giving it a go. So the book that I've just written, The Mirror Technique, is in the book. So Will You Come to Bed With Me? Creating Mindful Moments with Your Family. A lot of people have asked me why I wrote that cover. It's because I relax people and I relax them, and often they don't even know what they're saying, because when people are relaxed, they can be honest. I've had a lot of people, unfortunately for them, I've had a lot of people tell me incredibly personal things once I've asked them to relax. And it's very cathartic for them. They can get everything out. A lot of people have told me their breast cancer journey even before they've told their families, which is incredibly humbling for me. Obviously, I keep it all to myself. And then I can help those people once they've decided to go public with things. But I decided to call it Will You Come to Bed With Me, because once I relax these people, they tell me how hard it is for them to get to sleep. And I've just got them to sleep after 5 minutes on the floor. And I say, but you just fell asleep then. And they said, I know, will you come to bed with me? And I say, do you realise what you just said? And so, and also, like I've said, my son hasn't been well, so he's always saying, will you come to bed with me? And we're still having some sleeping issues with him, but that's okay. Life goes on. Okay, so women coming together. Women, like I said before, when you relax and you can let things go. Next weekend on the 18th of October, I'm so excited to be hosting a workshop. We're making it very exclusive. We're only having 8 people there because I want everyone to feel very safe. I want everyone to feel as though they can work through whatever they need to work through, and they don't actually need to worry about anyone else unless they want to. So this is going to be done at Yelling Up. I'm going to be giving a discussion, and we can ask questions in the morning. And then we're going over to Little Fish Restaurant, which is absolutely delicious, for lunch. And then I've asked an artist who used to run women's wellness groups in Bali and in the Southwest, and she's going to be doing an art therapy workshop with us. And then I'm going to give you the most relaxing yoga that I can possibly think of. It's restorative yoga, and this is the yoga that I teach for trauma relief. It really is amazing. And at the end, we're going to be doing a beautiful yoga nidra, which is the most blissful way to relax. And I'll give you lots and lots of bonuses with that as well. I'm going to give you, in the art therapy, we're going to be talking about essential oils as well and which one really resonates with you. So we're going to be making up a personal oil for you so you can take that home. And we're going to be giving you massage gift vouchers. I'm going to be giving you a manual so you can take it home. You get to download the free yoga nidra as well. And goodness, an eye pillow. I'm giving you so many little gifts for you as well. So I'm really looking forward to that retreat. So make sure you book in quickly because, as I said, we're only putting together 8 places. So what is the difference between mindfulness? I mentioned at the beginning we're going to be talking about this. So mindfulness and meditation gets bandied about in the same sentence quite regularly. And there are subtle differences between them. And I had to do quite a lot of research with this to figure out the differences. So I've put together a little chart for you just to recognize that if you're not a person that likes to sit down cross-legged and say, and you really, really struggle with maintaining a clear mind, mindfulness is a really great way of starting to bring it into your life. So meditation, it's often entwined with Buddhism and yoga and spirituality, but mindfulness is related to psychology and scientific research. And so when we're meditating, we usually ask that you stay still. But when we're practicing mindfulness, it's in every single part of our lives. So we can mindfully eat, we can mindfully walk, we can mindfully listen, we can mindfully talk. So there's so many different ways of bringing mindfulness into your life. Very important. I think one of the most important is mindfully driving. How many times have you driven somewhere and you think, oh my goodness, did I just go through that red light? And you're not mindful. You're not actually there in the present moment. So meditation is when you intentionally set aside time, but mindfulness is both being generally aware of the world, and it's a formal meditation practice as well. So with mindful meditation, we sit still and we practice mindfulness. We practice going into our mind, detaching ourselves from negative thoughts. It's very powerful. Meditation involves concentration techniques to focus on a particular exercise or to quiet a mind, whereas mindfulness is becoming fully aware of the present moment, including the stream of consciousness in your mind without judging it or changing it, which sometimes is a lot easier for some people. So we've come to the end. So question and answer time. Like I said, how to create a relaxed home, the program, the 5-week program, that finishes today, the end of today. After we have a few mindful meditation, I'm going to give you a beautiful body scan, which is, like I mentioned before, the meditation side of the mindfulness. Okay, I'd love you to join me. I'm going to do this webinar again on the 25th of October if you want to tell your friends. Okay, so that's there. Hi again. So if you have any questions, just put them to the side and I'll be able to see. Have I put up that you can't answer questions? Q&A. There it is, loading. Found it. Beautiful. Okay, so let me read and see if you've got any questions over here. Somebody's asking if I'm doing the course at another time. Wonder which course. the home program I'm only going to be doing once a year. So at the end of, on the 1st of November, that starts. The wellness workshop, the women's wellness workshop that I'm having next Sunday. Oh, how exciting! Next Sunday on the 18th. The 29th of November, we'll be having another wellness women's workshop. And then there's one booked for February, I think, because it's very hard to get accommodation around Yallingup at that time of the year because it's such a stunning, beautiful place and so many people go. So we haven't been able to book anything in January, mainly because of the accommodation. And when I spoke to the restaurant owner, it was fully booked. So we couldn't get a space for eight lovely ladies to come along. I'm also doing some decluttering workshops around... Oh, hello. I'm doing some decluttering workshops around... This is my son, Ollie. Do you want to say hello?
Hello. I can hear you talking to.
I'm doing an online webinar. Can I talk to you later?
No.
Yes. Thank you. I'll be available in about 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so I think that answered your question with the course. So if you've got any more questions, just let me know. Just seeing if there's any more coming up before I start our meditation. See if you've got anything there. Oh, here comes one. I won't say who. Somebody's asking where they can find the tips and techniques that I talked about before. So on my blog, there's lots and lots. The tips and techniques, I try to make them really short, very usable, very, very user-friendly, and for the tips and techniques for stress management. So that's on, I have my, sorry, my cat's here again. I have my victoriasplaceonline.com.au, and that's got lots of blogs, that's got lots of articles in it. I've also got a YouTube channel, and that is Victoria's Place Online. You can watch lots and lots of wellness tips on there, and the Facebook page. So just scroll through the Facebook page. I put as much inspiration on as I can. And do you want to come up and say hello? Wow, say hello. Oh, hello. Really? I know you're stuck now, aren't you? Oh, okay. I'm stuck. Sorry, that would have been really loud because that's where the microphone is. Okay. I think she's hungry. Okay, so I think that answered that question. If you are ready, we should do our meditation. Hopefully we won't have too many more distractions, but you know, that's life, that's what happens. I remember when I first had my kids and I was doing my yoga and my meditation practice, it had to be on the floor in front of them, and I remember doing downward facing dog and your car's being, you know, rolled up over me and down me, and kids using me as a tunnel all the time. So we do what we can when we can. Okay, so we're going to do a nice guided meditation now. So if you're ready, I'd just like you to find a place that you're not going to be disturbed too much. And just resting and closing your eyes. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just bring your gaze softly down. Starting to take a few moments on listening to your breath. So trying to breathe in and out through the nose. If this isn't possible, just gently in and out through the mouth. Using the hand mudra the hand gesture that we talked about at the beginning of the webinar, the thumb and the pointer finger together. The palms facing up or down, really depending on what's most comfortable for you, especially if you're lying down. And just resting, listening to the breath flowing in and out of your nose, not changing anything. Just listening to that beautiful breath. So important for our well-being, our lives. Spending a few moments thinking how magic, how awesome our bodies are as we breathe in that oxygen, carbon dioxide comes into our lungs, it spreads into our bloodstream throughout our whole bodies, and releasing back that carbon dioxide out. And the trees changing it back into oxygen and it coming back into our bodies. Amazing. Relaxing, a few breaths. Bringing your awareness down to your toes. Soften your toes. Allow them to flop out to the sides. Completely relaxing your ankles. Bringing your awareness to the bottom part of your legs. Relaxing your legs and your shins. Think about relaxing the muscles around your knees. And completely relaxing your thighs. Thinking about the whole of your legs softening, relaxing. Feel the underneath of your body soften towards the ground. Starting to feel the pelvis relax. The hip bones become heavy. As you breathe in, feel the belly gently rise. As you breathe out, relax the belly. Breathe in, feel the belly rise. Breathe out, relax the belly. Feel the lower back softening to the ground. Feel the middle back, the muscles around the spine relax. Completely relax across the chest. Feel the rise on the inhale. Feel the softening on the exhale. Bring your awareness to your shoulders. Softening across the shoulders. Bring your awareness into your upper arms, allowing the skin to relax. Allowing the muscles to soften. Allowing the forearms to relax. The fingers are gently curled. Backs of the hands are soft. Palms of the hands are soft. Bringing your awareness into the neck. Relaxing the back of the neck. The throat. Bringing your awareness into your face. And separate the teeth and relax the jaw. See where the tongue is more comfortable in your mouth, the roof of the mouth or in the middle. And gently separate the lips, relax the lips. soften around the eyes. Feel the heaviness of the eyelids. Feel a softening into the forehead. Feel a softening around the eyebrows. Feel a softening into the scalp. And the back of the head is heavy. Concentrating once more on the breath. Gentle, slow, long breaths. Feeling how relaxed your breath is. Thinking about the scale that we did at the beginning of our session. Number 1, feeling fantastic. Number 10, feeling terrible. Without too much thought, give yourself a number. How are you feeling now? Staying here if you choose to, or gently opening your eyes and coming back. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed our time together as much as I did this morning. I'll chat to you soon. Bye-bye.